Okay, what we're going to get started on today is 2-point perspective. So we have a larger sheet of paper than what we're used to. It is a 12 by 18 sheet of paper, so it kind of goes off the screen here. First thing I want you to do is to put your name and class ID, bottom right hand corner, and then flip your paper over. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go in the far right hand corner over here. You're going to line your ruler up at the edge of the paper. And you want to put a dot at the 6. So the 6 is, I'll zoom in here so you can see, it's the dark red line that has a 6 beside it. Right there. Okay, once you put your dot there, then you're going to move to the other side of the paper. Take your ruler, line it up, top or bottom, and do the same thing. Okay, this is going to be your horizon line. So once you get your 2 dots there, you can go ahead and sketch your horizon line lightly across the paper. These rulers are larger, so you want to make sure that you take your time, line it up, and then when you go to actually draw, fan your hand out, and then make sure your pencil's not like this, but straight up and down like this, and sketch your line. Okay? The other thing that these 2 dots are going to be is this is going to be our vanishing points. Okay? So there's one to the right, one to the left. You don't have to make them that dark. I'm just making them that dark so we can see a little bit easier. Okay? And then the next thing we want to do, you want to just kind of guesstimate where your paper is going to be in the middle. We're taking this white piece of tagboard paper, cardstock paper, and we're going to just trace around it. So you want to just get it in there as best as you could. This is just a guideline. We're going to have our perspective lines going past our where we want our paper at. Okay, so this is going to be where we're doing most of our drawing in here. Okay, just roughly. All right, next, what we're going to do is we're going to start to put in some buildings. And from this point, we'll continue to use the large ruler. So you're going to line your ruler up at the top or bottom edge of the paper. We're going roughly in the middle. And you want to sketch a vertical line up, one that goes just 1 inch roughly below the horizon line and then up into the air, but you want to stop it before you get to the top edge up there. So what this vertical line is going to be, it's going to be like the corner building. Then you're going to go from the top of the bottom, of the vertical line here. Line your ruler up at the vanishing point to the left. And for this one, you can sketch your line the whole way back and then also extend it out roughly like 1.5 inches. Okay, so once again, you go from the bottom of the vertical line, line your ruler up with a vanishing point to the left, and sketch your line out, and then also go out past that vertical line, roughly about 1.5 inches. Then we're going to go back to the vanishing point on the left. You're going to move your ruler down just a little bit so it looks something kind of like this. And once again, you're going to sketch a line out. Keep it light because there's a chance that you could be erasing part of this. So this part that we're putting in first is going to be the sidewalk. Then we're going to go from vanishing point on the right this time, over here. Line it up with the bottom of the vertical line there. And this time you're going to sketch your line out till you hit that second converging line that you drew, like that. So you go from the vanishing point on the right, and you take it down across to the second converging line here. Remember, converging lines are lines that are angled back towards common point. Vertical lines are lines that go up and down or north and south, and horizontal lines are lines that go east and west or left to right. Then you go back up to the vanishing point on the right, and you're going to connect it draw a converging line out to connect with one of those two converging lines. Doesn't matter which one. Either way, I had to erase or extend one. And then you can fix that. So what we have here is the beginnings of the sidewalk. Now from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go from where the sidewalk meets. It could be here, it could be here, it could be right here, it doesn't matter. But this is the corner part of the sidewalk. I'm going to line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, sketch a vertical line down. Remember, this is a small portion, so we're going to keep it like a quarter, half of and half, or less. Then I'm going to go from that bottom of that vertical line, line it up with a vanishing point to the right, sketch my line back. So from the bottom of the vertical line, line it up with a vanishing point to the right and sketch it back. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here on the left. Bottom of the vertical line, line it up with the vanishing point to the left this time. And I sketch that line back. Okay? Bottom of the vertical line, line it up with a vanishing point and sketch it back. Now, to put in the rest of these marks for the sidewalk, what you're going to do is you're going to go back towards the vanishing point on the left this time. And remember, this is the largest one. They're going to get smaller as they go back. So I put my pencil on the vanishing point on the left. I line my ruler up. And I sketch just in between those two converging lines. And then I continue to move my ruler back. And back some more. And hopefully, at this stage of working with perspective, if you've been here the whole time that we've been working with it, you're starting to notice that as these go further back towards the horizon line, they're getting more and more at the same angle of the horizon line. Okay? So the ones on the right are angled back towards the vanishing point on the left. So the ones on the left are going to be angled back towards the vanishing point on the right. So I'm going to put my pencil over here, vanishing point on the right, line my ruler up, sketch a horizontal line, pencil here, pivot back, same thing. And just like what on the other side, I'm going to try and get these so they're getting closer together the further back they get to the vanishing point, or the horizon line, sorry, either or. Because the vanishing point is on the horizon line. Okay? Okay, next, we're going to put in these vertical lines here. You want to make sure your ruler's lined up at the top or bottom of the paper. And sketch your vertical lines down. And it's not a big deal if you continue out past this, but this is kind of our picture plane here. So you don't have to go out past that. Okay. All right. Now from here, we're ready to start to put in some buildings. So we're going to go from the top of the vertical line here, line it up with a vanishing point to the left, and I'm going to sketch my line back roughly like 1.5 inches, and then stop it. So I go from the top of the vertical line here, line it up with the vanishing points to the left, sketch it back 1.5 inches. Then I'm going to take my ruler, flip it vertically, line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, and sketch a vertical line down. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here to the right hand side. I'm going to go from the top of the vertical line here, line it up with a vanishing point to the right, and sketch it back roughly like 1.5 inches, or it could be more. You can make this one maybe like 2 inches. And then I'm going to finish it off with a vertical line. So I'm going to line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, sketch a vertical line down. So what we have here is an eye level view, because we're not going to see the top or the bottom of the buildings. Okay? An aerial view would be like if you were on a taller building and you could look down and see the tops of other buildings. A worm's eye view would be if you were at the very bottom and you were looking way up at a really, really tall building. Okay, from here, what we're going to do, we're going to put some buildings on this side, and then we'll go over how to put some detail in. So on this side, what we're going to do is, you want it to be above the horizon line, but below this side of the building. We're going to put in a smaller building. So I'm going to line my ruler up here, pick a spot, line it up with a vanishing point, sketch my line back roughly like 1 inch. So I pick my spot, line my ruler up with a vanishing point to the left, and drew my line in roughly 1 inch. Then I'm going to go from the edge of that converging line, line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, and this time we're going to put a taller building in next, so I'm going to go down to the sidewalk, and I'm also going to sketch my line up. So I'm going to make this one slightly taller than what we have there already. Then I'm going to go from the top of that vertical line, line my ruler up with the left-hand side of the paper, and sketch a converging line back, roughly like 1 inch-ish. Then I'm going to finish it off with a vertical line. So I'm going to line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, sketch a vertical line down to the top of the sidewalk. Make sure it goes past the horizon line. And next, back to the top of that vertical line, the first one that you put in for this third building, and we're going to line it up with a vanishing point back to the right, because you'll see some of this building here. So I put my pencil on the vanishing point on the right, line it up with the top of that building. I'm going to sketch my line back just a little. You could actually take it back the whole way if you wanted, but for this one I'm going to add some variety here. So this is lined up with a vanishing point to the right. Then I'm going to go from the edge of that converging line, line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, sketch a vertical line down. Now next would be like an alleyway, so we're going to put in a small alleyway here. I understand that there might be more buildings there that you could possibly put in, but this is just a rough sketch up of how two-point perspective works. So I'm going to leave some space, line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, and I'm going to put in a vertical line. It could be taller than that building that you just put in or smaller, it's up to you. Then I'm going to go from the top of that vertical line, line it up with a vanishing point to the left, and sketch it back some. Then I'm going to finish it off with a vertical line that goes down towards the bottom of the top of the sidewalk. Sorry. So go from here, line up with the top of the sidewalk, sketch your line down. Now, since we have a space here to put in this side, we're going to go from 2 points, the bottom of the vertical here and the top, and we're going to line it up with a vanishing point to the right this time. So I'm going to go over here to the vanishing point on the right, put my pencil there, line my ruler up with the bottom of this vertical line, sketch a line back, and I'm going to go back to the vanishing point, line my ruler up at the top of the vertical line there, and sketch a line back. Okay? And then you can put in some more buildings back here. The tops of them are always going to go back towards the vanishing point until you go off of the edge of the paper. If you have any that are taller, keep in mind that you're going to have to take it back towards the vanishing point on the right also. All right. Next, we're going to start to work on the buildings on the right-hand side over here. So instead of going the vanishing point on the left, we're going to go to the right. And you might have noticed that my drawing is very smudgy. It's because of the graphite on the ruler. It's not a big deal. Those smudge marks are very easy to take off once we are finished. Okay, so we're going to go on the edge of the building over here. And somewhere above the horizon line but below the edge of the building, you're going to pick a spot, line it up with the vanishing point to the right, sketch a line back, roughly like an inch, could be a little more, a little less, it's up to you. And this time, since we're on the right-hand side, we're going the vanishing point on the right. Then you're going to go from the edge of that converging line, line your ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, take your line down to the sidewalk, and then take it up once again. You could take it up a lot taller, just a little bit taller, it's up to you. Then I'm going to go from the top of that vertical line, line my ruler up with a vanishing point to the right, sketch my line back some, like an inch. Then I'm going to go from the edge of that converging line, line my ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper, and sketch a vertical line down. Now, we will see some of this building here, the top part of it, since it's beside this one that's smaller. So you're going to go from the top of that vertical line, line it up with the vanishing point to the left, and you could sketch it the whole way back, or you could stop it like we did this one here. It's totally up to you. Okay, next, we'll leave a little space here on this side so you get a feel for what it's like to do that over here. So you leave some space in between the two buildings. And then you're going to line your ruler up at the top or bottom of the paper. And you're going to sketch a vertical line up. Then you're going to go from the top of the vertical line, line it up with a vanishing point to the right this time, and sketch your line to the right a little bit. I think mine's like a ½ inch. Then I'm going to draw a vertical line down to the top of the sidewalk. Then I'm going to go from the bottom of the vertical line here, line it up with the vanishing point to the left. I'm going to sketch it all the way back till I hit that other building. Okay, so this goes back towards the vanishing point to the left. So this time I'm going to draw two buildings here. I'm going to draw this one taller and this one, a smaller one right beside it. So you're going to go from the top of the vertical line here, line it up with a vanishing point to the left, sketch your line over a little bit. I think mine's like a ½ inch, a little bit more, less, wouldn't matter. Now this time you're going to go from the edge of that converging line that you just drew to finish off the top part of the building, take it down to the bottom converging line here. Okay, so you stop it right there. And I'm going to go from someplace above the horizon line, but not the top of the building. Line it up with the vanishing point to the left again. Sketch it back some. And now I'm just kind of building in other buildings with converging lines to the left. Since I made this one a little taller here, I'm going to take this part back towards the vanishing point on the right. So what we've done here, we just overlap some of the buildings. And if you don't want them to touch there, you don't have to have them touch. You could stop it like right here. Maybe you want to put a space in between, like it's two buildings. There's lots of different things you could do, or just leave it as a design. Okay? Okay, next step over here on this side, what we're going to do is we're going to go from above the horizon line, below the side of the building, line your ruler up to the vanishing point on the right, And by this point, hopefully you're starting to get a feel for what it's like to put in the buildings. And you can put a few more in just to finish off the right side here. Okay, so tomorrow what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll start to add details to the building.